stomp you out. Came with all my goons, we gon' thug it out. Go ahead, bust a move, we gon' stomp you out. Came with all my goons, we gon' thug it out. Throw your hood up, go ahead and rep your city. Throw your hood up, go ahead and rep your.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Vasiliy Lomachenko. This is ESPN Ringside on Instagram. As you can see, they're saying Vasiliy Lomachenko had successful shoulder surgery. So, Trill Dollar Bill, what are your thoughts on Vasiliy Lomachenko announcing that he had a shoulder injury and getting surgery after his fight with Teofimo Lopez?
I wish you would have went to G first. You know why? Because I'm trying to find the words.
You can pass it to G.
I just don't want to be disrespectful. You know? It is another thing, and I hope, please watch the video. Stop commenting on the videos without watching the videos. We've never compared Lomachenko to a Floyd Mayweather. That was what y'all was doing, and this is a reason why you can't. You know what? I'm not even gonna go that route. I'm gonna treat it like it's any other fighter, right? I'm not gonna give nobody no extra listen. This is some suckers and the highest level. Say you lost. I lost. Now I don't want no rematch. I don't want Teofimo Lopez to give him a rematch. You do not deserve a rematch now. The same way I felt about with the whole Manny Pacquiao and Floyd thing. You take your wins just like you take your losses, right? When you was knocking everybody out and you was beating them, I'm just on a different level, right? You lost. And the first thing you want to do is you want to make excuses. You want to do this, that, and the third. And no. The better man won. Right before the fight, you were saying that, I was injured in this fight. This is the best training camp ever. I'm going to put the pause on him. He going to get this work. They were very confident in Lomachenko's corner, his manager, everybody. This is the most he's been injured in every training camp except for this. Teofimo Lopez is going to pay. He never wanted to knock somebody out as bad as he wants to. He gets beat. Now, the first thing he goes to the excuse. What is they? Top Rank got a book of excuses? Like they all share?
Yeah, this is crazy, Trey. You reading my mind right now.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm gonna save you some stuff so you can be able to.
We're gonna save you some stuff.
we got a list. I'm just gonna do the first 5. You can you can gain and stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I wouldn't trust Trill, man. He's going to go over.
Last week, Trill take a left turn real quick.
Yeah. These guys it's disgraceful. And I feel bad because this kid, Teofimo Lopez, really trained his heart out. And he was expecting to get all the props and everything because y'all said that this guy was going to walk all over him. You know what I'm saying? I even said that this guy was more technically sound than him. We gave him all this. He had all the props. All he had to do was go in there and do his job. And he didn't go in there and do his job, and he decided to make an excuse. I have no respect for that. I have no respect. You lost. I lost. Now you want to go with, let me get that Top Rank excuse book. We ain't got the Top Rank excuse book. He's like, excuse 3. Bow, shoulder. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's going to do. Excuse number 3 in the Top Rank handbook is the shoulder. I don't buy it. I ain't buying it. I don't believe it. I think it's disrespectful. I don't know. All the bad things that all the adjectives that you can do to describe such sucker stuff, you use that. That's how I feel towards Lomachenko. I think that this shows a certain lack of class. I don't know. That's it. I'm done.
All right, G.
Nah, I agree 1,000% with Trill. I too, when I heard it, it immediately brought me back to Manny Pacquiao's excuse when he lost to Floyd, shoulder injury, right? And I'll say this: shoulder injuries are common in boxing, right? I remember when Andre Ward talked about his shoulder injury, like he didn't get surgery until like years after. He's been fighting guys with literally one hand for like the longest, right? And no one knew it, because he kept it silent.
Kill it.
I felt like, because originally I was like, on here I said, salute to Lomachenko. He didn't come up with excuses after the fight. I was like, you know what, that's respectable. Now it's like, shoulder injury, and I believe he did have a shoulder injury. Like you can see, like clearly he had shoulder surgery, right? However, why would you do that to a young fighter? Like, why take away and diminish his victory? That's what I don't like, right? And then what gets me even more mad is because I remember when we talked about who should Teofimo give him a rematch. I was like off rip, no, because like there was no rematch clause. You know what I mean? In the contract. That told me if the roles were reversed and it was 7-5 Lomachenko's way, Loma would not give him a rematch. And so to me, Teofimo don't need to do the same thing. And the fact that they're coming up with this excuse is like they're trying to paint a picture like, hey, you didn't beat an official Lomachenko, you beat an injured Lomachenko, so run it back. And to me, it's like, oh, come on, fam, don't do that to that young man, And so for that, like, it is, I won't say it's like, it is a sucker move. You know what I mean? It's because to me, Lomachenko, his whole career, he came off like a respectable guy. He didn't come up with excuses. He was beating everybody, so he didn't really need to come up with excuses, But it's like, that to me is poor character. When you had that little series, it wasn't All Access. What was their thing called?
Oh, like Blood, Sweat, and Tears on you.
On Blood, Sweat, and Tears, when he was throwing them lefts and rights and touching them things on the wall, his shoulders looked fine. You know what I mean? Never once did they mention a shoulder injury at all. Out of nowhere, you lost, and now you like, oh snap, my shoulder, bruh. So I'm not co-signing none of that, man. Like honestly, this is the problem with boxing, and I get it because this is millions of dollars, right? And I always knew. Remember, we talked about this. We had a segment before about no rematch clause and everything, and I was like, this just seemed fishy. Like I was like, because they knew even if Teofimo won, they're gonna make him run it back, and that to me is the problem. Like they were gonna find a reason to hold it down for Loma, and that's not cool. So to me, Lomachenko, fall back. Unless you say I got a shoulder injury and I can't fight for another year, then I could be like, all right, respect. Let Teofimo fight somebody else or move up to 140. Let him do something, but don't demand no immediate rematch because that's not cool.
Yeah, this Lomachenko showing us who he really is. No, like,
or he's showing us what Bob wants him to be. You know what I'm saying? Bob, man. I think
this is why I say
Bob
who he is, right?
Bob handed him that book, the excuse book. You know what I mean? So
yeah, to me, I was just saying because it seemed like a pattern. We gave him the Oledo Salidas, right? We gave him those excuses. Oh, he was rough taxing me. He was roughing me up. I'm not used to this. You know what I'm saying? Now he's the number one. Maybe this is just who he is.
Well, I don't know. It's tough for me to make a final, hard to have a final opinion on the situation. Here's why. Going into the fight, he did say he was 100%. I watched the Blood, Sweat, and Tears like everyone else. And to take it a step further, Bruce Vane has a video where not only does he say he shows like him saying he's 100% on Blood, Sweat, and Tears, he shows the workouts he was doing. And this dude was doing some crazy workouts that you're not going to be able to do if you got a bad shoulder. You can't say that your shoulder was hurt going into the fight because the workouts you were doing and you yourself said this is the first time you're going into the ring with no injuries. Now, if they speak to Vasiliy Lomachenko and he said his shoulder got hurt during the fight, I'll be okay with it. Because then that's telling me that, yeah, he took a fight. He was in a tough fight. He took a lot of punishment in that fight, and he probably threw as hard as he's ever thrown before. right? Shoulder injuries happen in boxing matches. You spoke about Andre Ward. I can even think of Keith Thurman, who hurt his shoulder in the ring with Danny Garcia in a win. So it can happen. But to me, one thing that can save Vasiliy Lomachenko in this situation is if he says that his shoulder got hurt during the fight. So then I'd say, okay, I'll give him a pass on that because he's admitting that he walked into the ring 100%, and it was the fight, whether it was him throwing a punch or him being the recipient of a punch, that forced him to need shoulder surgery. I can excuse him for that. Another thing is, like you said, after the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, Pacquiao said that his shoulder was hurt. And we talked about this era of fanboys. So if you can give your base a reason to hang on to that would excuse your loss, they're taking it. Like you look at Wilder's fan base right now, they're taking anything. Loaded gloves, check. Painted water, check. You know what I'm saying? Heavy suit, check. I'm telling you right now, if they come out with another one with Tyson Fury, they'll take that and run with it too. Fan bases are taking every excuse you can make to run with it. So Vasiliy Lomachenko says that his shoulder's hurt. There's a lot of Vasiliy Lomachenko fans that would want to take that and say, if his shoulder wasn't hurt and if he started earlier, like he did in the 8th round, he would have beaten Teofimo Lopez. And now what you have is a lucrative fight. The narratives are being created, right? So I don't necessarily know if it's Vasiliy Lomachenko himself. The last thing I would want to do is say, if he really had a shoulder injury and he decided to get the shoulder surgery, right? I'm not going to fault him for it. If you're really injured, you correct the injury. But I would love for him to come out and just say, this happened during the fight. It didn't happen before the fight. It didn't happen going into the fight. It happened during the fight. During the fight, my shoulder got injured. To me, that would change the way I view it. But also, all this is doing is creating the buzz for the rematch. He started too late. His shoulder was hurt. He comes in 100%. It's going to be different. Teofimo Lopez can't fight Ramirez or Taylor because they got each other. So they're already on lockdown. What can you do to make more money in the meantime other than Vasiliy Lomachenko? Devin, they with other promotional companies. You already know Top Rank's deal. So the more, like I said from the beginning, I look at it, this is going to happen again unless Loma needs more recovery time.
Yeah, definitely. And it was actually the manager. It was his manager who said, leading up to the fight, from the pre-existing injury that he suffered from the shoulder injury that he had surgery for him in 2018. He was saying that he re-injured it in the 2nd round of the fight. He was like, "Oh,
I gave to him." You know what I'm saying? Like,
from his surgery in 2018. You know what I'm saying? This is when he got in there the 2nd round. They're saying that he re-injured it, but leading up to the fight, he was having shoulder pains, and then he re-injured it in the 2nd round. Sounds like
excuse. They're saying he injured it in the fight. Now the 2nd round, he didn't really throw much.
Say he injured it in the 2nd round
from getting punched. So I don't know.
ESPN News, his manager was interviewed by ESPN News. He said leading up to the fight, Vasiliy Lomachenko was having shoulder pain. And then he also, in the 2nd round, he re-injured his shoulder. Top Rank at his finest, folks.
Yeah, and just to add, I feel like, I would love to just see Vasiliy Lomachenko come out. Don't be like Deontay. And this is what I mean about keep that same energy, right? You see, Deontay Wilder will take on a bunch of stiffs and guys who've been knocked out in prior fights. If I call Deontay Wilder out for that, everyone gets excited. But you call TC out for that, then you're a hater, right? Vasiliy Lomachenko, Deontay Wilder makes excuses. Every excuse in the book. We called Deontay Wilder out for that. Everybody loves you. Get him, get him, get him. Now Vasiliy Lomachenko, his fans are going to say, oh, leave him alone. Keep that same energy across the board. I told y'all from the jump, I promise you, I will always keep the same energy. In fact, what I do in my life, it requires me to have logic. It requires me to be great at logic. I will always keep the same energy across the board because it's required of me. And the moment I stop doing it, I will be homeless. So just know that's just who I am. That's just what I'm required to be. And that's why I get in this position. Again, Vasiliy Lomachenko, I would just love for Vasiliy Lomachenko to come out and say, I am not in any way, shape, or form making an excuse for losing the fight. My shoulder was hurt. I corrected that issue. Teofimo Lopez beat me. I feel like as someone who collected 3 of those belts, as someone who spent, like the last few years beating the best of the best, I lost. I feel like I deserve a rematch. There wasn't a rematch clause. I'm asking him to give me the rematch, and I hope he will respect that. And people will be on his side. I was on his side. I still am on his side. He should get a rematch. I feel like there's no better fight out there for him unless Bob Arum's going to make Devin Haney versus Tio, unless he's going to let him fight Gervonta, which that's not going to happen. The best fight for him is to just do it again because Taylor and Ramirez are already locked in to fight each other. So you can't
next month, right?
It's come soon. So you can't get those guys anyway. Or I think they might even be trying to push it to next year, to hoping that they get like a crowd or something.
Yeah. That fight needs a crowd.
So it's better for you to wait for them to fight each other anyway for the bread. But I get it if you can't get those guys anyway. So your best fight is to do it again with Vasiliy Lomachenko. But I would love for Vasiliy Lomachenko to come out and say, look, stop the nonsense. I never said I lost the fight because of a shoulder injury. I never said that's the reason he beat me. He beat me. No excuses. I was injured, so I took care of the injury. If you're sick, do you not take medicine? What do you want me to do? Not take the medicine because it'll look like I have COVID? Like, yo, look, I did what I had to do. I took care of myself. I just want another opportunity at getting the belts. That's it. And I'll be like, bravo, that'll dead all this. But if not, if you keep rolling, it's kind of similar to Deontay, right? So to me, it's about what Vasiliy does. Vasiliy, he can dead this. And I hope he does because to me, I never thought he was Mayweather level. I never thought he was Pacquiao level. They compared him to Muhammad Ali, which is ridiculous. But I do think he's a talented fighter. I think he has skill. And I think, like, if you're clowning him for losing to Tio, don't act like Tio just walked through that, man. He did early, and then Vasiliy turned it on, and Vasiliy got some get back. So let's not make it look like Vasiliy some chump that everybody everybody can't do what Tio did to Vasiliy. Vasiliy, it's okay, bro. You took an L. You can bounce back. But don't be that guy making excuses.
Exactly, because you're going to take away your character. You're going to take away from your character. Let us know how you feel. Check us out in the comment section and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Also, check out our podcast on all major streaming services. It's the Boxing Bros. Don't let us hear about your t-shirt being too heavy the next time.
Catch me creeping down the dark street. This is where me and the zombies meet. Guarantee we all gonna eat. It's Zombie Ray again with HD. I'm a zombie in the night, you better run from me. Zombie Ray in the house, you better run, homie. Brought a mask and some gloves with some thugs with me. I came to do damage, you wanna purge with me. Super Saiyan zombie, I'll be